They slapped billions in tariffs on Chinese goods. They promised it would bring jobs back to America. But somehow, your iPhone is still made in China, and your groceries are still more expensive. So what happened? This is how China outsmarted US tariffs, and how it's still affecting your wallet. In 2018, the US launched a full-blown trade war against China. The goal? Punish Beijing for unfair trade practices and bring manufacturing back home. The weapon? Tariffs, basically, taxes on imported goods. The idea was simple: make Chinese goods more expensive so people would buy American. But like every global chess match, things didn't go according to plan. Behind the scenes, China made some very clever moves that quietly reshaped global trade and made the tariffs almost useless. Tariffs 101, what are they really? Let's rewind for a second. A. Tariff is a tax on imported goods. If the US puts a 25% tariff on Chinese steel, it means US companies have to pay 25% more to buy that steel. Sounds like a good way to pressure China, right? But here's the twist: the Chinese government doesn't pay that tax. The American company importing the goods does. And guess who they pass that cost on to? You. China's first move, the reroute game. China's first counter-strategy? Rerouting. Chinese companies started shipping products to places like Vietnam, Malaysia, and Mexico, where they'd finish assembly or relabel the goods, then export them to the US without the Made in China label. It's legal, it's clever, and it worked. Trade data showed a sudden spike in exports from these countries, even though their factories hadn't grown significantly. Coincidence? Not really. Building global backdoors. But China didn't stop at relabeling. It went global. Chinese companies began investing in factories abroad, in Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Now, instead of making goods in China and risking tariffs, they make them in partner countries. Same company. New address. It's like moving the chessboard while the other player's not looking. And America couldn't keep up with the spread. Government incentives, playing long-term. While American firms complained about rising costs, China quietly gave cash incentives to its own exporters, helping them absorb the tariff costs and keep prices low. Meanwhile, US farmers and manufacturers were struggling to compete. In fact, the US had to launch a multi-billion-dollar bailout program for farmers who lost their biggest buyer, China. America pays the price. So what did these tariffs actually do? Well, American importers paid over $100 billion in tariff-related costs. And instead of making China pay, it was US families and small businesses who got the bill. Prices went up on thousands of products, from tools and electronics to toys and even bicycles. A trade war meant to punish Beijing ended up punishing the American middle class. The silent counterpunch: rare earths and technology. China didn't just play defense, it went on the offense too. One word: rare earths. These are the critical materials used in smartphones, EVs, and military tech, and guess who controls 60% of the world's supply? Beijing hinted at cutting off exports during the trade war. The message was clear: you may hit us with tariffs, but we control what you need to build the future. Wall Street's dilemma. Big US corporations weren't happy about this trade war either. Apple, Tesla, Walmart, all had supply chains heavily reliant on China. They pushed back, lobbied hard, and quietly adapted. Some raised prices. Others absorbed the losses. But most didn't bring jobs back to America. And Wall Street? It kept investing in Chinese companies, because money goes where growth is, not where flags fly. The numbers don't lie. In the end, trade between the US and China didn't collapse, it rebounded. By 2022, China was again one of America's top trading partners. The tariffs didn't bring factories back. They didn't shrink the deficit. They just made things more expensive. So who won the trade war? Definitely not the American consumer. The consumer's reality, what it means for you. Now here's where it hits home. When you buy a phone, a t-shirt, or even a toaster, you're still tangled in that global game. Tariffs didn't break the system. They just shifted the cost to your credit card. The reality is this: in a global economy, you can't fight alone. And if you do, you better expect the other side to fight smarter. A smarter war? Trade wars sound tough. But in the real world, they're chess games, not boxing matches. China outmaneuvered the tariffs not with weapons, but with logistics, strategy, and global partnerships. So if the US wants to stay competitive, the next battle shouldn't be fought with tariffs, it should be fought with innovation. What do you think? Did China win the trade war? Or is the next round just beginning? Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more deep dives, and share this if you've ever wondered why everything just keeps getting more expensive.